Once upon a time, in a lush green forest, there lived a sly and cunning fox named Felix. Felix was known far and wide for his cleverness and wily tricks. One sunny day, as he strolled through the forest, he caught sight of a beautiful vine laden with plump, juicy grapes hanging just out of reach. "Oh, how delicious those grapes look," exclaimed Felix, licking his lips in anticipation. He tried jumping up to grab them, but failed. Undeterred, he tried again and again, but the grapes remained stubbornly out of reach. After several failed attempts, Felix sat down, panting with exhaustion and frustration. "Those grapes must be sour anyway," he muttered, trying to console himself. "I don't need them." But deep down, Felix knew he was lying to himself. He desperately wanted those grapes, but his pride wouldn't let him admit defeat. With a sigh, he turned away from the vine and continued his journey through the forest. As he walked, Felix couldn't shake the image of those tantalizing grapes from his mind. He tried to distract himself by planning new schemes and tricks, but nothing could erase the longing he felt for those juicy fruits. Meanwhile, a wise old owl had been watching Felix from a nearby tree. The owl had seen many creatures fall prey to envy and pride, and he knew that Felix was heading down a dangerous path. "Hey there, Felix," called the owl as Felix passed beneath his tree. "What's troubling you?" Felix hesitated for a moment, unsure whether to confide in the wise old bird, but something in the owl's gentle voice put him at ease, and he found himself pouring out his frustrations about the unreachable grapes. The owl listened patiently, nodding sagely as Felix spoke. When he had finished, the owl spoke in a voice as soft as a breeze rustling through the leaves. "Felix, my friend, I understand your disappointment, but remember, true happiness does not come from material possessions or outward success. It comes from within, from being content with who you are and what you have." Felix pondered the owl's words for a moment, feeling a glimmer of understanding dawn in his heart. Slowly he nodded, realizing the folly of his actions. "You're right, wise owl," said Felix, a humble smile spreading across his face. "Those grapes may be out of reach, but that doesn't diminish their sweetness. I should be grateful for all the blessings I already have." With a newfound sense of peace and gratitude, Felix bid farewell to the wise old owl and continued his journey through the forest. From that day on, he no longer let envy and pride cloud his judgment, choosing instead to focus on the joys of simple living and the beauty of the world around him. And though he never did taste those elusive grapes, Felix found something far more precious: inner contentment and true happiness. The moral of the story: it's easy to convince ourselves that something we desire is not worth having when we can't attain it. However, true happiness comes from being grateful for what we have rather than longing for what we don't.